So I slept only like 3 to 7. And then I got up and, did the usual. I took my fluoride shield. I took Omar out to pee-pee poo-poo. I put my roommate's dog out in the pen. First I shoveled up. I don't always do that, but I just did it. I shoveled up the little bit of dog crap, dog shit, whatever that was in the pen. Speaking of which, I'm going to let my roommate know that that barrel that puts the dog shit in, before it gets too heavy, he needs to dump it wherever it is that he dumps it. I asked him, what you do with this? He says, I dump it over. I don't understand what he was talking about when I first moved in, so maybe I'll have him show me. Not that I would ever do it, I'm just a curious person, as we've already established years ago when I first started doing this. I'm extremely inquisitive, and I want to know. I asked him, I'm like, what? I'm like, I wanted to be nice, to you, to the dog, pretty much, and because he was letting the dog shit really build up in the pen, and he was busy, and he just, anyway, I did it, and then I was curious. I'm like, he's like, well, I don't let it get too full. I'm gonna let him know. I'm like, it's getting kind of full now with the dirt and dog shit. You might want to dump it before you can't lift it. Then I went back to bed. No, I'm sorry, I did my oil pull for 22 minutes. Cleaned up my Hotmail. Titled the video I created last night. Came up with a better title for the video I created yesterday that discusses some of my sexually charged grade school moments, so my sordid childhood. That wasn't all of them, of course, because just like little kids, a lot of little kids do, maybe most, I don't know. I've met people, my African-American college boyfriend was like, I never did anything like that, but from what I read in magazines stuff, most kids fool around with their friends or their family members, or kids fool around with kids, and I did. I fooled around with my cousins, fooled around with friends. From what I've heard, most kids do that. Not all, but most. Fooled around with my stepbrother, of course, when I was 9 and he was 7. My mom, I talked about being like Dakota Fanning in Hound Dog, when I was a kid, when I was in grade school. My mom and Irv, my abusive alcoholic stepfather, thought it was funny to have me and his son Andy play spin the bottle when I was 9 and he was 7, and kiss each other, make out and stuff. They thought it was hysterical. So yes, my mother loved me, but like Donald said, you were loved, but it was more of a care than a deep concern, or you know what I mean? My mom just didn't have that. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, so I went back to bed, but only unfortunately for a couple of hours. I woke up at 11. Called my roommate because he was gone, and I said I was sound asleep, and your dog, I'm not telling you the name of the dog, obviously, was in the pen. Did it pour out while I was asleep? He's like, well, no, but it rained. It's raining now. I'm like, okay, well, I'll go let him in now, So anyway, that was the morning. He'll be home. I don't know where he is, whatnot, but he'll be home at some point, and he'll take me to Walmart and to the market. Unfortunately, I couldn't find. I stayed up all night because I chose to clean. I chose to shower and wash my hair and dry my hair. I used my organic henna shampoo and conditioner, and I dried it right when it was soaking wet, so it did take a long time to dry. And the reason I did that is because sometimes if I put it off, if I say, oh, I'm not going to dry it right now, and I go on my computer, it starts to dry by itself, and then I have to wet it down. It's a pain in the ass. I decided just to dry it. He went out last night. He wasn't around, so I showered and I washed my hair and I dried my hair. And then by the time I did everything, this was after I came home from my 4.5 mile power walk, and I ate some of my soup that I had added to it already, because it was the soup. I fasted, I fasted on Friday, so I didn't eat the soup Friday. I ate the soup Thursday, and I had added to it some brown rice and some garbanzo beans, so it was delicious. I finished it up yesterday when I got home from my walk. I'd already had my shake, my smoothie that day before I went for my walk. I came home, I had some Ezekiel flax bread with some ghee, and then I had some of my ginger nori crackers with some ghee, and then I wisely, because like I said, I don't take things at face value. I search, I especially now after so much new shit has happened to me, I looked and like, fuck, I told you guys, and I thought that ghee had less fat, calories, whatnot than butter. No. Ghee is called cultured butter, though, but it has a lot of health benefits, because just like yogurt, it's cultured and it gets those cultures in it, bacteria or whatnot, good bacteria, so it's better for you. But now that I know it actually has more, it has 45 calories per teaspoon, and butter has less. I think butter has 35, so it's about the same. It's not, but I thought it had a whole bunch less and I could go to town with it. No. We want to lose weight, not gain weight, Laura, okay? So that's that. His dog's inside. I put his dog's bowl down, and now Omar's in here with me. Omar, where are you? He's under the covers. Oh, he's right there. Because as we've already established, we need to keep Omar away from kibbles and bits where the top ingredient is corn, okay? And no, in the department of my roommate doing the smart thing, the wise thing, the right thing, the correct thing, and putting some kind of flea stuff on his dog, it's not looking good. And in the end, just like most people, if it happens, if we get fleas and ticks in the house, if his dog gets ticks or fleas or the house gets, my roommate will make excuses. Well, I didn't have the money, or I was really busy, or I had this expense come up. Obviously, I'm not telling you, I'm not revealing things about him to you. I'm just saying I predicted it, and it's not looking good. We had a warm day at the beginning of March, and I didn't have to put it on Omar, but I did. I got scared because it was really warm, but actually you need 4 warm days in a row. But in any case, I did it, and I'll put it on him again this Monday, tomorrow. Omar will be protected, but I won't be. People have to learn by their mistakes. He's had this dog is not a puppy, okay? He knows. And yeah, maybe he was in a situation before where other people were doing it for him, or whatever. I don't care what the situation is. You have the dog now. You have to be responsible. And if he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it. There's not a goddamn thing I can do about it, is there? No. I am making the best of a situation where I can't live alone and don't really want to live alone. And like I said, I don't have a car. I don't drive. And that's fine and good if I just want to get to hair appointments or bikini wax appointments or eyebrow appointments or whatever, or visit a friend or meet up with a guy or whatever. But grocery store and things like that, grocery store, it's really difficult to not have a car. Okay, so I am on my knees with gratitude to this guy that he'll take me anywhere, Walmart and Target and all them I could have got to by the bus. And the grocery stores I could too. It's just, I like to buy stuff all at once. I don't want to be going to the grocery store all the time on the bus, so I'm very grateful to him for that. But I will still be pissed off if this house becomes overrun by fleas or ticks or whatnot. I already saw one tick, I told you the other night. I was pissed 2 nights ago. It was on me, and I flicked it away, and I thought it was a tick, but then it came back. So it could have gone anywhere in this house, anywhere in this, no, it comes back to me. Why? I think it was preparing to chow down on me. Blood meal. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know. So I was thinking about things I've told you lately. One of the top things is you guys hand me the largest shovel mankind can create, and I still would not be able to shovel up all the shit people, family, and people I've known, and anybody, people have tried to shove into my brain or, feed me throughout my life. I hate when you flip down and feel like a tiny little hair. In this house, it's more than likely a dog hair. So much bullshit people try to feed me. Told you about that guy. Professes himself to be religious, allows me to stay with him even though he's not supposed to. He's done it before. I found out, and he's told me, and I found out from other people, he's like that. He's a good Samaritan. He's on Section 8, and he lets you stay in his apartment, shower there and sleep, and then you leave early in the morning and come back at night, just like if it was a shelter. Come back late at night, just like it was a shelter, okay? And in his case, he had things to do, so it wasn't even as early as a shelter. He shoveled so much shit, professing himself to be religious and caring and whatnot, and then he turned into a total asshole. He told me up front, if you're not back by a certain time, say 8 or 9, I'm going to lock you out. The thing is, I was new around there. One time I got lost, couldn't find his place. The buses didn't run right. I had to take a bus pretty far to get to his place. No excuses. He locked me out, and I had to sit outside in his hallway all night long, more than once. He wasn't kidding. I go to bed and you're locked out. I knew damn well he wasn't in bed yet because I was only 15 minutes late. I could hear him in there with the TV on, but he didn't let me in. But he's so religious, just like Donald. Nearly kills me, doesn't care, right? Shoves me backwards down that hill, November 4th, 2008. And then when I'm back living with him again under his great graces, his mom's good graces, she acquiesced to her wishes. He didn't want me back there, and I don't blame him, okay? We're going to be out walking somewhere, because remember, I want to be in his girlfriend again. I still hung out with him. We did everything the same except no sex, but the sex was horrible anyway, so it might as well be the same, and he treated me like shit, Again, you see me cry, you're crying because you're a loser, or whatever. But he had the nerve to sit there and say, because when he had done all that to me, I had contacted some of his friends and let them know what he had done to me. And he's like, you embarrassed me. You told them about our sex life or whatnot. And he's like, look, Laura, I'm one of the nicest people or nicest human beings you will ever come across in your life. Are you fucking kidding me? Give me the shovel, Donald. Give me the shovel. Are you kidding me? I could have been dying at that bottom. You took off. I could have been bleeding to death. I had been knocked unconscious. I woke up with blood on me and bruises and scratches and giant bruises on my arm and big lump on the back of my head. I was knocked unconscious. You're one of the nicest people I'll ever come across in my life? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? So let's discuss Donald more. Because remember, I really want someone to create that giant shovel so I can shovel, but I won't be able to. I would not be able to shovel up all the shit people throughout my life, friends, family, and strangers alike, have tried to shovel into my brain. Or, ingrain into my brain, okay? Wouldn't be able to do it. Create the biggest shovel, Let's discuss Donald. I'm back there living with him for free, rent-free. I'm on welfare, so I'm not really I might be costing them a little bit, but I'm not really costing them much because I'm contributing with food, my $200 a month food, and we ate cheaply. She made meals. She made cheap meals, We ate cheaply. Believe me, I was contributing. I wasn't paying rent. I only cost them a little bit in electricity. I cleaned all the time, and I went everywhere for them. Remember, I could walk to the 99-cent store and buy stuff that Donald wanted, or buy cheap wine if they had at 99-cent store, 99-cent wine. This 99-cent store, everything was 99 cents, and they started having name brand stuff. It was pretty cool. You get a tub of Newts and whatever, or a name brand cottage cheese that's big thing, be $5 at Vaughn's, and you get it for 99 cents, and it's not expired or anything. I mean, the 99-cent store was really cool. They started having, and I guess they started having name brands because it really benefited these name brand companies to put some of their stuff into 99-cent store, because then people would discover it. Because everything didn't stay at the 99-cent store. They'd have various things and then they'd go away. But I discovered stuff at the 99-cent store and then would buy it in the regular store if I liked it. But a lot of times I wouldn't even bother to try stuff that was expensive in the regular store because I don't want to waste the money if I didn't like it, So I was in shock. The 99-cent store had name brand stuff a lot of times that you'd find in the store for $4 or $5. Crazy. And they even had wine. We'd buy cheap 99-cent store bottles of wine. But anyway, I would walk. Everything was walking distance. The market was 5 minutes away, 5 minutes down the street. Vaughn's. Rite Aid was right next door. That's where Donald would always send me to buy his big 1.75 of booze, because he didn't want to look like an alcoholic, so he didn't want to be buying it. He'd send me to buy it, okay? In the 99-cent store. Those three. Vaughn's, Rite Aid, 99-cent store. I made friends, not friends, but I would talk. I talked. The manager, right, African-American manager, I forget what his name was, but at one point when Donald had hurt me, as in, hurt me and made me cry, I don't know, but at one point I was talking, I do remember his name, I'm not going to tell you though, but I would talk to them sometimes. He knows a little bit of how Donald had treated me. He noticed when I'd lost weight, because he knew me when I was 232, and then I got down to 200. He said, "Oh, you lost weight, you're looking good." I said, "Thank you." I said, "I try." I talked to some of the people's cashiers at the 99-cent store, some of the cashiers at Vaughn's. I became friends with the guy the African-American guy who was a security guard outside Donald's bank, because Donald would always, I told you, his money, he would always bounce his account, and he'd realize it, and it wouldn't, and as long as you covered it that day, a lot of times he'd realize it, and he'd leave little notes for his mom. "Mom, I need $25, leave me $25 and my account's going to bounce." And if the account bounces, you'll be charged like $30. And she'd leave it for him. I think I confiscated one of those notes one time. I actually think I showed it in a video that's on private. Intentionally so. But because it's just such a joke. Like I said, give me the shovel. So anyway, I'm staying with him, living with him and his mom under their good graces, which I'm just like, as an aside, I just want to say this as an aside, because it all ties in. When you find yourself in situations where, I'm talking about situations where you can get out of it, you're free, But even J.C. Dugard, she made the best of a very bad pedophile situation where she was trapped in there. I read her book. Her book was incredible. For 18 years or something, and she survived. Had she been a different person, he would have killed her, She did what she had to survive. But sometimes you're in a situation where you're going to be killed or whatever, and you're there's no way out. I'm just talking about things like when I found myself homeless on the streets or whatnot. Or even when I was with Omar. Now, granted, I had to rely on when I was on the streets with Omar in March of 12. Luckily, I'm smart. I'm smart enough to use my brain and to think what I can do, but I still had to rely on people's kindness. Yeah, my mom sent me $100. I begged her, and she happened to have the money. She had it. It was just a miracle, because Marion gave her very little to live off of, okay? but she saved up that tiny bit of money. Miriam was still giving her the same amount that my mom had when she had her car, so she didn't have a car anymore. So she was able to save up that little bit of money, thank God. Thank God she hadn't spent it on whatever. Because she could have gone on a little vacation with her friend or something. She could have not had the money and I would have been screwed. Mama and I both. I don't know what we would have done. Except later when we were going to be screwed because a place I thought would take me in with the aunt with Omar said, sorry, we don't, when they knew I was a domestic violence escapee or whatever that I escaped, he was like, we don't have the facilities to, it was in California, it's a place that, in LA, near Hollywood I think, they will take you and your pet, but they're like, sorry Laura, they gave me some water for me and Omar, but sorry Laura, and it was a hot day, and we traveled there on the bus like over an hour, and sorry, we don't have the facilities in case your boyfriend comes looking for you and the dog and whatnot. We can't take you in. Sorry. It's okay. It's not your fault. I don't blame you. But now Omar and I are back to square one where we have nowhere to go. And this took all day to find you, and I couldn't find you, and I didn't know where I was going. And now it's getting dark. That was the night that I figured out when I was going to try to get myself arrested, because they're not going to kill Omar. If I get myself arrested peacefully by just doing whatever, sitting in the doorway of a store where there's no loitering, they're going to close, or refusing to leave a store, whatever, just sitting down, I would get arrested peacefully, and Omar would be safe. You know, that was my top priority. Omar and I were not going to sleep on the streets of Hollywood, period. And I had no money. This was after that I'd spent the whole weekend at that hotel, okay? Because my mom had sent me the $100. But that night, with that future night that I wasn't expecting, because I really thought those people who take the only shelter in the universe, practically, probably, there's none around that would take you and your pet. They have facilities to house your pet, and you can visit your pet, and your pet's safe, and until such time as maybe you can, you know, like I wound up eventually doing here in Massachusetts, get on Social Security, disability, get your own place or whatnot, you know. They wouldn't take us in. I was diplomatic. I cried, I'm sure. I'm sure I cried, or I was just in I don't believe this, and now it's dark. I was giving up. I called that 211 number when it was dark. They couldn't find me, screaming, why don't I just fucking kill myself? Because it was an unseasonably what's the word? Unseasonably cold. Normally it wouldn't be that cold, and I wasn't dressed warm enough, and I didn't have a coat. I think I'd had a jacket that I lost. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We wound up riding as I told you in another video, Omar and I wound up riding the bus all night long. Because I was thinking, what the fuck can I do? What can I do? I don't want to get arrested. I have a perfect criminal record. You know, I mean, it would be a peaceful arrest, and Omar would be safe. They put him somewhere. They're not going to kill him. You know, they're not going to take him away from me forever. I would be arrested, but you know, like I said, it would be a peaceful arrest, just like if somebody ties themselves to a tree and gets arrested or something. My top priority was I had no money, and Omar, or I didn't have enough money to get a hotel. My mom had sent me that $100 at Western Union. That was it. That was that whole weekend. This was Monday. Everything was supposed to be fine. This place that takes pets would have taken me in. No. I told them that I was running away from an abuser, and we're sorry, Laura, ma'am, or we don't have the facilities in case he comes looking for you. We can't do it. We're sorry. Okay? It's all right. Thank you. I smiled. You know, you could see in my eyes. I smiled. I graciously accepted the water, bottled water they'd given me for me and Omar to go on our way. And luckily it dawned on me, you buy a bus pass for $5. I knew there were buses in California, the 33, the 333 that would run all night long. They would run all night long. A lot of those MBTA buses in California and LA, the ones I used to take to Hollywood, would run 24 hours. Believe me, I know that, because I used to go home. Sometimes I'd go to Spotlight Bar and I'd take the bus home. I wouldn't get home till like home to, this is when obviously when I was broken up with Donna, you know, during those 2.5 years, I wouldn't get home till like 3, 4 in the morning. I'd have to switch buses. I was waiting at bus stops at 3, 4 in the morning, okay? A couple of times I even walked 11 miles back to Culver City from Hollywood. I didn't know how far I walked. I felt like doing it. Did that a couple of times. With my music blasting in my ear. Remember, like I said, you know, that's how I was living my life. Just everything that happened to me, you know, alright, if someone kills me or gets me or whatever. I was walking all on main roads, so, you know, I felt relatively safe because these main roads, there's bars still open, there's cars going by, there's people, but not that something couldn't have happened to me, but it's not like I'm walking down a dark alley, you know. But I did. A couple times I walked home from Hollywood to Culver City, and then I Googled it later to see how far it was, and it was over, I think it was like 11 miles. Crazy, huh? I did it. But that particular night, I figured out, unfortunately, the first bus I went on, I didn't realize it didn't run all night long. And I didn't know that. I didn't know what to do. Omar and I had to get off somewhere and wait for another bus to come, and it was really cold, and it was awful. There was someone else there, a woman, and I was like so cold, I was going to just start screaming. I didn't have a jacket, and it was just, unfortunately for me, just another punishment. It was just, we were having a cold front. I mean, normally it would have been warmer in March in LA, and it wasn't. So eventually, I can't tell you, and I can't betray anybody, but I got Omar to safety. But, you know, you have to have when you're faced with some situations like that, you have to just think, I was going to give up. I can't give up. I have to protect Omar. I was like, what can I do? What can I do? I can get myself arrested. Oh, wait a minute. The buses run all night. I'm not without a penny. I can buy a bus pass and ride it all night long. And I found out that other people, homeless people, do that. They don't. The regular people don't like it because the homeless people sometimes were rude, and they would sleep, and they would take up the whole seat with their stuff and sleeping in. That might have been nipped in the bud. I was talking to, this was years ago, I remember, and I was talking to people saying, yeah, they don't want people to do that anymore, but it served my purposes anyway. So me and my, you know, my 5'10" voluptuous blonde self and a 12 purebred pug dog worth that could be sold definitely for like $1,000. We're not going to have to sleep out on the streets, you know, in the cold to boot. But, you know, you can have your wits about you all you want. In the end, you have to also have people have to come through for you. You know, it didn't matter that I had $100 in my hand when I couldn't find a place, a motel or hotel that would let me have Omar. And in the end, that guy had it was at a real cheap hotel. He came through for me, risked his job. He gave me the first floor scummiest room imaginable. I found out there was a used there was like, I don't know what was on the floor, and there was a used condom under the bed, whatnot. But it was like a 5-star resort for me, because I had been lugging around 22-pound Omar and 4-pound carrier and not sleeping, and I had my contacts in, and they were killing my eyes. And I have a video out here that's not on private where I'm just, you can see it, okay? But I survived somehow. But I have a brain, and I can think, and I thought about things to do or what I could do, and I did it, and I did it, and in the end, you know. But also my mom came through for me, and so did the stranger, the Hispanic guy at the hotel. Gave me 2 nights, and he was going to not be there the second night. He's like, please, ma'am, I'll lose my job. I'll get in such trouble. Don't make a sound. Don't come out. I never left the room. I ate the crap. I lost weight during this ordeal with whatever. You know, I didn't eat. I had some wheat crackers that I had purchased when I'd gotten my food stamps for that month, because this happened. I had just received my food stamps. I had that. I got my GR just in time to buy a carrier, because Omar was terrified. He was scratching my bare legs. His nails were too long. He was upsetting me. He was putting bloody welts on my legs. Also, he would bark and growl at everybody, and I had to have him on buses. I had to travel by bus. I had to spend money and get that carrier. I can think. I hustled. I did what I had to do. Some people were nice. Some people were not so nice. Some people threatened to call the cops on me, because of course I hadn't showered. I smelled. I wanted to and we needed one run. I needed water. There were people that wouldn't even sell you bottled water. They're like, get away, we'll call the cops, establishments. I wasn't going to sit in their little dinky restaurant. I just wanted to buy some bottled water, and they wouldn't sell it to me, And I begged that whole time. I wanted to hug him. He was I don't know how old he was. I'm sure he was younger than me, maybe in his 20s or 30s, but he let me stay. I begged him. I did what I had to do. Okay? Now let's get back to the biggest shovel the shit, okay? I was living with Donald and Hope under their good graces. I was hanging out with Donald. I was drinking with Donald. I was purchasing booze with Donald. I was noticing he was drinking way more than he used to drink when I was his girlfriend. He's just killing himself with booze. He can drink in one night more than half of a 1.75 gin. Okay? Especially when he was drunk. He knew I wasn't going to be his girlfriend anymore, so he knew that ship had sailed, that there was no way. When he was drunk, he wanted Huggies. He's like, Huggies? I'm like, get away from me. You nearly killed me. I didn't care. You're cruel. You threatened to throw me out all the time. You see me crying. What are you crying? Why are you crying, Laura? Are you crying because you're a loser? All this crap, okay? But Donald would periodically say things to me, and he meant them. But it was it was like a backhanded compliment, or shovel the shit. Like I said, gave me the biggest shovel. He noticed I was losing weight. He was appreciating that. You get back to what you were before, Laura, you lose all that weight, you'll be able to have any guy you want. That's one of the things he would say to me. Another one. We're watching Love and Other Drugs, which, by the way, I put down. I loved that movie. I consider that in my all-time favorite movies. That movie. And I think Anne Hathaway is stunningly luscious. I mean, she's beautiful, okay? In the face. She doesn't have the voluptuous. I like women with curves, with voluptuous butt. But anyway, she's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're watching Love and Other Drugs, and it has close-up of her. And Donald's drinking as usual. And he looks at me, he's like, you should have been in movies, Laura. You would have wowed them. Okay? Giant shovel the shit. Okay? That's the second thing. The third thing he would say to me, what he said to me before. Oh, he did say, you're even at your age now, you're still so beautiful. He said that to me. Even at your weight, even at your age, you're still so beautiful. And he also said, oh no, he said that one time when we were drinking, when it was nearing the end of our relationship, nearing the time, and then he would nearly kill me and not care. Charlie, I can see when Charlie was lifting my confidence again, and he was like, not in person, just online. I'd send him to my website. I'd met him through Yahoo Answers when I was having my back bulging disc problems, and I was trying to get people to, give me answers about what was going on and whatnot, and that's how I met Charlie. But anyway, Donald said, I can see what Charlie sees in you. You're still really beautiful, even at your age. Okay. And even at your weight, because I was 232 pounds still then. Get away from me, Donald. You're such a fucking prick. You don't even give me LL anymore. You crawl on top of me only when you're shit-faced. Do your business, and then, get away from me. Get away from me. We were still together then. But the other thing he said to me when we weren't together anymore, when I was staying with him and his mom, under their good graces, you know. Can't even believe that happened. Don't even know why they let me, seriously. Don't know why they just did, but in any case they did, and I accepted it, because like I said, I'd paid more than my share of expenses over those 8 years, nearing 8 years that I'd been with Donald. He never had enough money for the rent. I was working full-time. He was on Social Security disability. He never had enough money for the rent, and that's on top of I paid for everything. I paid for all our entertainment. Believe me, I did not feel guilty staying for rent-free those 2.5 years, not after all the ways I had supported that lazy bastard, okay, when I was his doormat girlfriend. Wasn't even getting good sex out of the deal, okay. He says to me, talking about my skin, he's like, you have the most beautiful tone to your skin, Laura. He's like, very few women have that. I'm like, he's like, even in spite of the pimples. Now I've really, you know, taken care of. I very rarely get pimples anymore, but I still occasionally get them, and I still occasionally get them then. But in any case, he said that to me, and I'm like, but think about it. Think of how he had treated me. Nothing he says means shit. You lose all your extra weight, you can have any guy you want, Laura. No, I can't. During my 7 years, 8 months with you, and then even after we were broken up, okay, you methodically, with 100% awareness, turned me into a basket case, okay? I'm a basket case now, Donald. Doesn't matter how much weight I lose. I'm afraid of my own shadow, and I'm definitely terrified of most men, okay? But he'd say that, okay? You know, and then he's talking about my skin tone. Yeah, how would you know, Donald? You don't date, you don't see very many, but whatever. Backhanded compliments. How do you think it made me feel? We're seeing Anne Hathaway's beautiful face on the screen, and Donald's like, oh, you should have been in movies, Laura. You would have wowed him. Fuck you, you fucking bastard. You know damn well what you did to me, and you're going to say something like that to me, you know. So, that's what I mean about, you know, Donald would say stuff like that. Well, usually when he was drunk. Before we were broken up, when he was drunk, he would say stuff like that, and it would make me ill, because he knows what he did to me, you know, and he knows it's too late. He knows I'm in my 40s now, that it's too late. He's going to say, oh, you should have been in movies, you would have wowed him, and you have such beautiful skin tone, and you lose weight, you can have any guy you wanted, you lose all your extra weight, and blah, 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 blah. Fuck you, it's too late, Donald. Too late simply because of my age. I'm in my 40s now, Donald. But you see what he was doing? And he meant what he said. And the reason I know he meant it is because he didn't say it all the time. He'd get drunk and he'd say stuff, just like when I was his girlfriend. It was nearing the end, but when it would be the end of us, thankfully so. At one point he was shit-faced, and he's like, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, and you're the worst that ever happened to me. Get out of my fucking face. Before I met you, I was at the epitome. I was at my glory days. I was, you know, there were people watching me on Alicia's World who thought I could be a star, Donald. You thought I could be a star. You told me you would help me become a star. So get out of my fucking face. I'm in my 40s now, and you're gonna say this shit to me. Oh God, give me the shovel, people, please. Just give me the giant shovel so I can shovel all the shit. All the shit, giant shovel, shovel all the shit, giant shovel. It's not nice out today. I was going to walk to CVS. I was going to do my power walk again. But actually, if he's going to take me to Walmart, I can get a probably cheaper card. I won't take time picking it out. I don't want him to have to wait. My mom's in Fantasyland, probably, whatever. I mean, I could get her any card and she'll be happy. But Cheryl suggested that. Send your mom a card. I don't know her unit number. I don't know her room, her floor number, whatnot. They'll get it to her, Laura. I'm sure they will. It's her mail. I don't know, Cheryl. I don't know how this fucking nut house stuff works. I've thankfully never been locked up in one in my life, and will never be locked up in one in my life if I can help it. Like I said, a couple times I spent one night. And one night is not weeks or months. Because one night's not being committed like it's probably going to happen to my mother. Giant shovel, shovel all the shit. Giant shovel, shovel all the shit. I might title the video that, but it might not fit. That rhymes. Giant shovel, shovel. Because you have to say, you know, it might not fit. You know, sometimes I come up with titles that don't fit and I have to condense them. To use my little brain and condense the title. Just like I had to condense when I used to write too much on my English papers or philosophy papers in college. I would always write too much, and I'd spend 20 hours writing one paper, and I wrote too much, and I had to condense it. Because they give you word limit, they give you page limit, you're not supposed to. A lot of times I just couldn't condense it, and I would just turn it in like that, and I would still not on my philosophy papers. If I was lucky, I got B's in my philosophy classes. I tried. It was just really hard. But my English classes, I got A's. And A's on all my papers. And sometimes, one time my teacher gave me an A-. He's like, I would have given you an A or an A+, but it was too long. Your paper was too long, Laura. So I got an A-. It was still an A. Right, Omar? When I was telling you guys about the white rock in the back of the shitty apartment where the older boys, 17, 18, 19, whatever, would burn the bugs, burn the insects with cigarette lighters for no reason, you know. It's what boys do. Little girls, girls rarely do that, but boys do. They want to hurt the bugs and hurt the animals. I said I wrote a lot of my poetry on that rock where I'd hang out. Because remember, I was an only child. Irv had a son, but he didn't live with us. He had his mom, he had his family. He visited, you know. And I tried to get him to have sex with me. He was cute. He grew up. He grew up. He ain't really handsome. He started off cute. I didn't think Irv was attractive at all. I don't like beards and mustaches. I won't date anybody with a beard or a mustache. It's possible Irv was attractive under it, but I never saw it, so I can't stand beards and mustaches. And that's another thing. I don't like when people tell you that you're shallow, or they get you're, you know, for not being attracted to certain, you know, everyone has a right to be with who they want to be with. My shelter friend was adamant about that. She even said, you should put it in your ad, Laura. No, I can't do that. Shaniqua, I can't do that. I can't put that in my ad. I'm not going to put in my ad that I'm not going to give you the time of day unless you're at least my height, not significantly overweight, and sans any facial hair whatsoever. You know, it's rude to do that. She didn't care. She's like, even when it comes to race, if you don't want to date outside your own race, or it's your business, and nobody should be calling you shallow or saying anything to you. Okay? That's how she felt. I feel that way. It's just, I have a hard time. I don't like to hurt people's feelings, you know. But a lot of people, when I was working at Friendly's, one of my co-workers who's around my age, I was, say, 23. She might have been at 20. She was just around my age, maybe a little tiny bit older. I told her I would never date a man with who had a beard or a mustache. Oh, that's really shallow. Yeah. My abusive alcoholic stepfather, who French kissed me when I was 9, had a beard and mustache. I don't like beards and mustaches. That's my prerogative. You might not like, and I might not like, to be with people who are massively obese. It's our prerogative. Everyone has a right to like what they like. I 100% feel that way, and I cannot stand the people who say, oh, well, beauty's only skin deep, and if you like him or her, then who cares if you're not physically attracted to him, or you can learn to be physically attracted to him. Or my cousin of the dead aunt said that to me one time about a dating website guy who I told her that we'd met, and we didn't realize we thought we liked each other so much, and we didn't. We just weren't physically attracted to each other when we met each other. And she's like, well, couldn't you learn to be? No. We'd each had pictures. It's just, he was kind of not quite my height and real thin. He didn't, and I was a little heavier at the time, and in the picture you can't really tell. You don't know when you meet, and it just... But you'd think we would have liked each other because we'd been talking on the phone and stuff. That's why you shouldn't do that. You build up, and then it was horribly awkward. You really shouldn't be talking intimately and whatnot, because you just don't know if you're going to like each other in real life. But, I mean, you shouldn't start thinking, oh, this is love, or this is whatever. But we did. We talked for a long time before we met, and we thought it was so intimate, and this, that, and... Oh, I've never, he would say to me, and I had his picture, and he had my pictures, I've never known anybody. And he always said once, maybe a million. He's like, it's been so long since I've known anyone who had a voice like yours, Laura. And, and we thought it was going to be like this, and we wound up not being attracted to each other, and it was so fucking awkward. We met at a dance club bar. It was just, we didn't even make small talk. I was so disappointed. I was disappointed. You couldn't tell by the picture, and we didn't have, over the phone it was easy. You could be, over the phone, it's just you're talking to somebody's mind. It's just like that movie I loved. I've read the book first. I read all the Twilight 4 books, and then I liked the author so much that I wanted to read other things first. And the host, I loved that, and they made that into a movie, and the movie was great too. But she's really this amoeba type thing, okay? And that's really who she is, the essence of her. And then they put her, into the beautiful girl or whatnot. I mean, you know what I mean? But that's not who she is. She's really this weird-looking, ugly amoeba thing. And she even told the guy, she's like, you wouldn't like me if it was really me. You wouldn't be able to even be with me or anything. I'm just this. So, yeah, in a different reality, we wouldn't care about if we were physically attracted to somebody. If we were advanced more, it wouldn't matter if we all looked the same. But that's not reality. And the way that it is the way that it is, and people want what they can get. Okay? You can Google it, you can research it like I have. People want what they can get. There's sometimes exceptions. I mean, I've seen Hollywood people, and they'll even, because I've Googled things and I've discovered things. I'm like weird Hollywood couples, and sometimes like you. What's a face? You see really, really short men with, like, I'm talking short, like 5'5" with 5'10" women, or 6 foot women, or Gene Kasem and Casey Kasem, and I think that he was a lot shorter than her, but it doesn't matter. If I don't want to be with a guy who's shorter than me, I'm not going to be with a guy who's shorter than me. If I don't want to be with a guy who's overweight, and I'm not talking about six-pack, I'm talking about, big, giant belly, and you don't have to have a six-pack, you just have to not be significantly overweight, okay? If I don't want to be with a guy who has a beard or a mustache, I don't have to be. Shaniker, 100% adamant about that. To her, it wasn't even a question, but I'm like, well, people will say you're shallow and you should look beyond. And I do. Joe thought he was ugly. Joe was not ugly. And Joe at least was not overweight, taller than me, and sans all facial hair, okay? Was he a GQ model? No. Was he even remotely as gorgeous as Donald? No. But Joe was a fucking brilliant musician, songwriter, sweet, kind, deep, everything. And he didn't, find success with that. He didn't really try all that hard, and he's like me. He's not cutthroat. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, A lot of times to make it to the top, you have to be cutthroat. You have to hurt people. You have to step on people. Joe wasn't like that. That doesn't mean doesn't have just as much, if not more, talent than a lot of these people who make it, okay? He writes brilliant songs. He writes music. I mean, his voice is good. It's not absolutely fantastic, but he's the whole package, okay? Whole package. Was then, still is, never gave it up. Doug was in a band. Doug, great singer, musician, songwriter, he gave it up for money. Joe never gave it up. Joe doesn't make a living at it. Joe has a really, really good, because he has a brain, he makes a shitload of money doing really good stuff that I'm not going to tell you, but he makes good money. That's why he invited me to stay those 3 weeks in 2008 after Donald had done what he had done to me. And he supported me. He even bought me some stuff. He bought me some suitcases, because my suitcases were disgusting. He's like, you need a new suitcase. I'm going to buy you suitcases. But Joe didn't like seeing me heavy. Last time he'd seen me, I was 160, and now I'm 232. He's like, what happened to you? You used to be so thin. I'm like, what happened to me was Donald. Joe, you know that. What happened to me was Donald. So now I'm back. I'm a little over 160. It's what I was before when I was doing Alicia's World, because I didn't always stay at 160. I fluctuated a little bit within a few pounds. Okay? I'm back to what I was. I'm 12 years older. 12 years? No. 13 years older, something like that. I'm a million times wiser, but I'm in my 40s, okay? So Donald can't be saying, there's not going to be, I'm not naive anymore, I'm having fun with this, guys, you understand? I'm having fun. In fantasy land, I can always think there's still hope of me achieving fame or not, okay? But I'm achieving fame out on the internet. I'm having fun. It's fun to communicate. It's fun to tell my story, I told you, people like to tell their story. Told you about the ex-convict. I'm sorry, not the ex-convict, the convict. The one I was writing to when I was in my 20s, the African-American radical who wrote a book called Rebel Angels. And I wound up being his pen pal, and I still have copies of all the letters that I sent to him, because I started doing that when I was like 18. I started making copies of every letter I ever sent out to people. Of course, I have every letter anyone's ever sent to me. This is all in my storage in LA. And if something happened to it, well, then that's the way it goes. There's nothing I can do. I can only do what I can do. I have that flight credit. I don't really have the money to go get my stuff. That's the thing. I wish I could find some way to make extra money that doesn't involve getting a regular job. Because now I'm in a different situation than I was living with my mom. I'm in a situation where I can take buses to places, and buses run kind of late. I could take the train, A little bit of a different situation than I was in before. A little more freedom. That's kind of nice. But no, I enjoy making myself famous out here. I enjoy it. But as I've said before, it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't put a guy behind me in this bed rubbing my shoulders and neck and kissing on my neck and nibbling on my ears and talking dirty in my ears. You know what I mean? It doesn't give me any of that. It doesn't manifest itself into real life, but it is fun. It's fun. And I even took off a private when I had a chance to watch them. Some of my older videos, when I determined that there weren't anything bad in them. And of course I have that old risque video that somebody flagged, but YouTube, I appealed it and I won. So no one could do a damn thing about that. I'm in a fast food restaurant, shit-faced out of my ass. This was the night I blacked out, didn't remember anything the next day, and lost my camera. And found it again. Otherwise I wouldn't even have had that video. The other videos I created that night, some of which I'm lucky the police didn't catch me, if somebody didn't call the police on me, because in one of them I am screaming at the top of my lungs. Remember, I was blacked out. I didn't know until the next day I was blacked out. I was wandering around, not in Hollywood, but in Culver City, blacked out. One of the videos I'm screaming at the top of my lungs how much I hate Chad Kroeger's fucking guts. So needless to say, that's on private. Because this one I was in my fantasy of still believing that he had intentionally fucked me over. But in the restaurant, the fast food place, I lift up my dress to show my panties. And when I appealed it, I said to YouTube, I said, look at all the things out there. I can find videos, you know, even Chad Kroeger's sex video, whatnot. I mean, I said, there's so many videos and rap videos and whatnot. This is nothing. And I appealed it and I won. So now it's age restricted. I said, I shouldn't get a flag for this. I should just get it. It should just be age restricted. And it was. I won. I appealed it and I won. Other things that have been flagged, I've appealed and won it. Just by the way, you know. But I still have to be careful. I have a lot of videos I created in anger, mad at Hope, mad at Donald, furious with Chad Kroeger for fucking me over, okay? And I would scream. I would scream in the videos. I'd scream. I don't know. That's why they're on private, because I'm smart and I'm not going to have them not on private, okay? There might be some time in the future that I don't know how to make a website, but Joe told me about, remember my old website, I can't do anything with it, okay? Nothing. Donald made it and I can't touch it. I can't, he has all the codes and everything. But there might be some time in the future where Joe told me about this thing that it makes the website for you. It probably costs a couple $100 or something. I have a couple $100. I could do it. And it does it all for you. Because I wouldn't know how to do that shit myself. Donald did. Donald was really brilliant. He and his mother, Donald's mom, and I, even though Donald was cruel to me all the time, I still tried to encourage him. He would once in a while make extra money helping people with their computer. I was like, Donald, you could do this as a business. You're always so poor. This is when I wasn't his girlfriend anymore, you know, and he couldn't rely on me anymore, and you know, and he could only rely on his mom to a point. She wasn't going to put up with his shit. She did, but she was getting fed up, you know, because what she was doing for a living was dwindling down or something, and she would bitch to me. But I tried. His mom tried. We tried to encourage him. You don't have to, we know, you know, because remember, he's on Social Security disability for mental problems. But that didn't preclude him from being brilliant with computers. He made my website. He made it for me. He taught the computer to himself. I tried to encourage him. He didn't want to do anything. there was a contest where having to do with there was a contest that he could have entered, and if he won, he probably would have, might not have won, but he was a brilliant writer too, a communicator. He first won me over with his mind. I had no idea what he looked like, and then when he was gorgeous, that was it. The wolf had lured in the lamb, you know. I only found out after the fact. I liked his mind, and then I visited his EarthCam TV channel. He didn't do anything, but he had the channel. You have to have a channel to watch EarthCam, anybody else's EarthCam TV channel. You don't have to go out on it. He was gorgeous. You want to see what he looked like? Go to my Flickr page. There were few women I don't think who would not think Donald was, in his heyday, in his glory days, he was gorgeous. His mom is in her 70s now and still beautiful. You know, for a 70-something-year-old, but she's still, his mom was beautiful young. I told her so, and she was beautiful. I saw Donald show me pictures, and Donald's her only child. He was an only child too. He's gorgeous. Apparently his dad was gorgeous too, you know. I think when I looked at my dad when he was young, I thought he was really attractive. The dead aunt said, you think your dad was but she knows what a jerk he is. But I'm not the type, I'm not, like I said, give me the giant shovel. I think people, I think that most people would think my dad was very attractive when he was younger, okay? And my mom definitely wasn't bad, okay? My mom was very pretty too, and that created me. But, you know, the dead aunt, before she was dead, I was like, well, my dad's an asshole, but he was really good looking, and she's like, you think so? I'm like, yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, but there's a difference between my gorgeous dad and like a Danny DeVito or something, to give you an example of, you know, or whatever. Or Mick Jagger. He's not all that great looking. He married a model. And they created a beautiful kid, you know, but you know what I mean? There were unattractive people and more attractive people. So for the dead aunt to say, well, I never thought your dad was good looking. Yeah, but you're the type, I guess, because you know he's a jerk. But my dad was good looking. So was my mom. And no matter what an asshole, I don't care how much of an asshole he is, I can recognize that he was really good looking, handsome guy. Handsome guy, you know? And I believe that most people would think that if they looked at his picture. They'd say, yeah, he was a handsome guy. Show you his army, he's a good looking guy, you know? Was. And even if you can say, oh, well, all kids think their parents are good looking or whatever. Well, that may be, but I believe if people looked at my dad when he was, you know, when I was a little girl, so when he was in it, you know, I believe that they would think he was very good looking. Remember, I'm never talking about GQ model. I'm talking about he's just, you know, very, but attractive. He was thin. He was like 6 feet, dark hair, but he was thin, 6 feet with dark hair, and he had nice features. I think so anyway. I'm sure there are people, there's beauty in the eyes of the beholder, but I was in shock when she said that. My dead aunt said, I never thought he was good looking. What rock? I mean, what planet are you on? My dad is good looking. So is my mom. I can't stand Marion, you know that, okay? Hope hurt me deeply. Am I going to say she wasn't attractive? No. Donald hurt me deeply. But even heavy, Donald was still attractive. But when I first met him, he was like GQ mom. I mean, he was just gorgeous. Joe wasn't. But Joe is a million times the man of Donald, and Joe wasn't ugly, but he wasn't as gorgeous as the future Donald I would meet, you know, and he wasn't as gorgeous as other men I'd met or whatnot. It didn't matter. He was everything, you know. I used to go to bars. I'd meet, one time when that local bar I went to, there was an unattractive guy there. He was mean to me sometimes. I forget what he said. He would but anyway, he was not attractive at all, but he also had a very unattractive personality, see? Whereas there could be a guy that's not quite as attractive as I might like, but he can blow me away. Was I lusting after Joe? No. His mind and everything, and his sweetness and his kindness and his everything just totally won me over. Okay? He was attractive enough. He wasn't shorter than me. He wasn't overweight significantly. You know, he happened to be, he was thin. You know, he was good, and he didn't have a beard or a mustache. Okay? And his facial features were interesting. You know, they weren't, like I said, but there's all kinds of people that I can be attracted to and that you can be attracted to, that anyone can be attracted to, but I don't like people who tell you, well, if you like that person, you can learn to be physically attracted to them. No. No. There has to at least be something there. I don't care how much of a personality, if you're 5'5" and 400 pounds or something, I'm not interested in you, period, and that's the way it goes, okay? You have to have my bare minimum. I don't put it in my ads, but I screen everybody that contacts me, every guy that contacts me. You have to have the bare minimum. And so many people contact me who don't even have pictures, and I don't even bother with them. Bare minimum, at least my height of 5'9.5" in bare feet, and not an inch shorter. What is that? Hello? We'll be home. He probably will be home, and I did this instead of searching for the Walmart receipt. But we don't even have to go to Walmart. I can find the other thing anyway. Walmart, I even told them yesterday, I need to go to the market and get things like yogurt and fruit, all that stuff I need. And pumpkin seeds. I thought I ordered them online, and I ordered 2 things of sunflower seeds. I didn't order pumpkin seeds, and I have no idea why. Could have sworn I did. From the same brand, unless they're missing, or else I just missed them.